What will be the history of 21st century visual arts? What will be its defining moments? From what centers and whose aesthetics? Where will peoples once peripherized be located? Who will be the legitimizing authority?
That if it wasn't for Haiti, then none of us would have been free. It was Haiti.
Et je pense que ce centre qui a été construit ici, à Little Haiti, maintenant nous donne une opportunité de manifester la valeur et la richesse de la culture haïtienne.
God graced us with the richness of art and culture.
Tableau ça, so Call from Africa. Mais l'aime pas les Call from Africa. Call ça qu'a sorti New Orleans, il qu'a sorti Haïti, il qu'a sorti dans le suburb Chicago. C'est the same spirit. Same war, misery, poverty, happiness, love.
Getting into art, it's my passion. I've always liked working with my hands, creating and doing different things. And when I got into doing this, that's when I, stopped. I said, this is it. This is my calling. This is what I've been looking for all my life.
This visual story is one that has not yet been told, not because there is no storyteller to tell it, but because it only exists in fragments, each fragment asserting its own autonomous existence, removed from the context of mainstream history. It is therefore the story of visual artists who defied their otherness and entered the realm of 21st century aesthetics, not only to lay their historic claim on it, but also to challenge the framework which defines and polices its boundary.
Il n'y a pas de différence pour moi entre les Haïtiens qui vivent à Miami et ceux qui vivent en Haïti, parce que nous sommes tous ancrés en fait, dans le même océan, l'océan de notre histoire, l'océan de notre mémoire, et c'est sur ce qui a été accompli par nos ancêtres, ce qui a été accompli au niveau de l'histoire d'Haïti, qui, pour l'humanité, a apporté quelque chose de sacré, qui est la liberté, le vrai sens de la liberté.
This exhibition engages Haitians at home and abroad in the articulations of the lines of continuity. What comes out is that we do not cease to be related simply because we are separated by oceans. Will it be possible to inscribe this story within the master narrative of contemporary art history? Will this not produce an irresolvable contradiction, a slap in the face of Hegelian metaphysics? Isn't the history of art not still being written according to the European historical framework in which only the Western subject is privileged? And is it not this privilege achieved by arbitrary removal of other peoples and culture from the dynamic of historical continuity?
Faut qu'on koto sorti pour qu'on koto braller. Je toujours à puiser dans vraie racine moi. Racine grand ancêtre moi pour me communiquer avec monde qui a gardé peinture. M'aller loin spirituellement. Les gens qui col from Africa, je ne pour penser que son col qui juste saute direct from Africa, mal passé par Africa pour me faire un vrai col là pour me dire ça me le dire spirituellement.
Memory, Haitian art, and the making of history's concern is not to denounce this unicentric ideology, but rather to interrogate the nature of its narrative, to reveal the underlying myth which disguises those contradictions inherent in its aims, aesthetically, historically, and epistemologically.
Black art, I think, is going to a new road now. I remember I was 10 years old when my mother gave me my first paintbrush. But she said, listen, art is a language with a twist of abstraction in it. So even though the work that you did today is wonderful, but it doesn't speak volume, you have to make it speak volume. I asked her, how can I make it speak volume? She said, you see, you have 3 boats in the water, sink one of them, and that's it.
Throughout history, artists have traveled from one country to another in search for patronage, often ending up in a dominant center. The arrival of Picasso, Brancusi, Mondrian, etc., all immigrants in Paris in the early years of the 20th century, was very much part of this tradition. So when artists from the Third World arrived in South Florida in this era of globalization, it is not a new phenomenon. The transnational nature of contemporary art removes the constraints, both physical and psychological, from traveling to this place where they can find institutions to support their works. In this context, Miami emerges as a global city whose progressive citizens interact within the transnational framework characterized by a good measure of sympathy for each other's welfare and culture. We have come a long way, and the United States is now officially a multicultural, multiracial, and multi-ethnic society. But can true pluralism be achieved without recovering what we have lost in the past for whatever reason? Can we afford to be complacent anymore if we are to move together in the 21st century as one nation?
Et je pense que c'est la représentation la plus forte de notre pays, en terre étrangère.
We are pleased to be part of whatever takes place in any kind of African diaspora art presentations, whether it's art, literature, scholarship, and we've always worked in partnership with a variety of communities and activists and actors to make sure that this happens.
So we hope this center is going to take Miami to the next level, just as the Schomburg in New York or the African American Center in Atlanta. We would like if the city gives the means for this center to make it really a place where Caribbean art is going to be positioned in order to compete. We have the artists, we have the scholars, we have the buildings. It's the support of our community behind the commissioner and Mrs. John, Commissioner John. We are watching and we like what we see so far. Thanks very much. Enjoy the show. Mesdames, mesdames,